Hi, I'm Jenny Robertson, the founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and the founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Emily Shull is speaking on, is the problem my marketing, message, or me? Emily is a holistic money coach and founder of Me, Myself, and Money. She helps you to understand and heal your relationship with money so you can attract, keep, and enjoy money without the anxiety or overwhelm. Emily does this by guiding you to the emotional root of your unease with money. She is known for her calm voice, non-judgmental manner, and ability to help you realize a more peaceful relationship with money and with yourself. So, Emily, thank you for being here. Welcome, and whenever you're ready.
Thanks so much, Jenny. I love being in this group. So my talk today is the problem my marketing, message, or me. I am really shocked that I do not hear this question asked very often, or any other way to phrase it. I think as solopreneurs and small business owners, this is the heart of what we struggle with. Unless you came from a background in marketing or sales, when you start your own business, you need these skills in order to reach your audience and to make your business successful. But in my experience, and what I've seen for a lot of other people, is we kind of tend to hop from one thing to another. And when it comes to implementing what we learned, there is often this huge resistance that comes with that. And in that moment, we have to decide, is it the tactic? Is it the program? Or is it me? Like, do I have something that is coming up for me from my past that's stopping me from going forward? Or is it that this program that I took is simply not aligned? And I just love this topic. I think it's really important for any business owner to ask themselves these questions really very often in order to grow personally and in order to grow your business. So I'm going to focus this talk mostly on the resistance that occurs, because if you take these programs, if you follow everything, then it's probably going to work because the advice is, rather straightforward. But it's usually us that gets in our own way. And so determining how best to use our time and to spend our money, it's really important to have these conversations with ourselves. So I wasn't going to start with a personal story, but I did share it in the breakout room. And since Kat had a positive response to it, I'll go ahead and tell you that, the biggest resistance that I had. So when I first started my business, I realized, okay, I know nothing about marketing, so I need to take a course in that. So I signed up for a group program, and it was very intensive. It was 10 to 12 weeks long. We had certain steps that we needed to follow, and it led to us delivering a webinar to deliver an offer. And when it came time to send out the email, to send out all the posts on social media, letting people know about this free offer that I had, I felt so much resistance. Like, I did not want to send that email. And so I sat with that and I tried to figure out what was going on. And what came up at that time was this story that my mother used to tell from time to time about how her father was in business with his brother, and something happened and the uncle cheated my grandfather out of money, and my grandfather's family stayed poor and my uncle's family got rich. And I thought, oh, wow, like, I didn't even realize that this story had such a powerful impact on the way that I think about money. Now, part of that is definitely true. But as I sat with it more in the weeks that followed, I realized there was actually something much deeper than that going on. And that when I felt into this resistance, what came up to me was the feeling of, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to be a bother. And when I sat with that feeling, I realized that that was connected to my childhood and how I felt growing up in a household where my parents, it felt to me like they were very distracted and not there. And that whenever I had needs or whenever I wanted attention, I felt like a bother. And so realizing that helped me tremendously, not only in my business, but of course, personally, because this is something that applies to, various aspects. And that's why marketing and visibility and sales and money and our business, it's all interconnected with our personal experiences. So it's really important and necessary to go back as far as we can to understand, where is this coming from so that I can get a handle on it once and for all, so I can shift this behavior, because otherwise it keeps us from reaching the goals that we have. I want to point out that you might have different goals in your business, and it doesn't matter, because if you want a successful business, we have to attract clients. But it's important also to recognize, why you're in business in the first place. And that sounds so like, duh, of course. But it actually took me a few years to realize just specifically like how much money I really wanted to make, how many hours I wanted to work. And that informed the types of programs that I signed up for as well. Because the first one that I did, it was for people who were working full time, wanting to make $100K a year or more. And that was just not where I was at the time. And so having more clarity about, are you doing this because you need to pay the bills? You need a stable income to pay the bills. Are you in business because you have other income, but you want supplemental income, either to live more comfortably, or maybe you want to fund a passion project? Or are you doing this, maybe you are retired and have no need for income, but you just feel really passionate about it? So getting and then how many hours do you want to work? Do you want to work full-time? Do you want to work more than full-time to make this work? Do you need to work full-time? Or is balance more important to you? And are you in a position to do that? That's really helpful when understanding what kinds of programs to sign up for, so that you were in a room with like-minded people. And so especially if you hire a business coach, that you're really aligned into what you want. Otherwise, you can very easily say, oh, this program isn't for me, or any aspect of that program, or any strategies or tactics that you don't like, you can easily say, oh, this just isn't for me or my clients. So I have identified 4 places where resistance to sales or marketing techniques comes from, the origins of that. So I'll go through these one by one. And the first one is personal experience that we have had on the receiving end of sales and marketing tactics that might have left a bad taste in our mouths. So, we all have these personal experiences and things that we say, like, I will never do this when promoting my program because I absolutely hate when people do that. The problem with that is that, we're all individuals, and what is off-putting to us might not be off-putting to our clients. And in fact, maybe they need some tactic that isn't successful for us. So for example, if you're a coach who works with people who are overwhelmed, maybe you'll want to send 3 emails the final day before your program closes. That might be off-putting to you as someone who's very organized, like, I don't need 3 reminders on the last day. Who would need that? Well, maybe the people that you're targeting actually do, because they're very overwhelmed and they easily lose track of things. And you can even turn this around and gain a lot of information when you think about what programs have you signed up for and what strategies were used, because chances are you've signed up for something or you've bought something despite people using maybe countdown timers or a scarcity tactic or some other thing that you think is not, that would not be your first choice to use. That's something that you're staying away from. thinking about your own purchases kind of shifts your mindset into, okay, well, the program itself, the benefits were more important to me than these little aspects of it. And so that can broaden your mind into, okay, maybe I can try this. It didn't feel quite right to me before, but I can try this and see if it works for my audience. Which leads me directly into my next point. And I'm so passionate about this. We often become resistant to implementing our sales and marketing strategies because of our desire to do business with integrity. And of course, we all want to be authentic. We all want to be full of integrity when working. However, it is easy to use this as a crutch for stepping outside of our comfort zone. It's very easy to say, oh, I would never do that because, that's just not me. Oh, that's too salesy. That's too sleazy. I would never try that. So I think it is so important for every business owner to constantly ask yourself, am I resisting this because I don't want to step out of my comfort zone? Or am I resisting this because this truly crosses the line of what I won't do? I'm so fascinated by this topic in particular. I'm actually writing an article for the On Purpose Woman magazine, the next issue on this, because I see this happening a lot, and I have faced this myself over and over again. Our desire to be authentic, it doesn't necessarily have to keep us rigid. In fact, I think authenticity requires us to be constantly curious and open. And so whenever you're trying a new tactic or introduced to a new tactic to reach your audience members, and you're resistant to it, it's good to keep in mind, can I try this? Or just ask yourself the question, can I try this once to see if it works? Is it going to turn off my audience, or does it mean something about me that I try this one particular thing, or is it worth doing? And there's no clear-cut answer, but I think the question always needs to be asked if you want to continue to grow. And the last two places where resistance stems from is our conditioning. Conditioning from our upbringing, from our parents, our caregivers, our environment, our schools, how they thought about salespeople. My mother did not have a good impression of them, and it took me a long time to realize that filtered down to me, and that affected how I saw this task of getting customers. Or how your parents felt about financially successful people in general, or wealthy people. If they didn't have a good impression of that, if that felt like, if they were seen as someone who was taking from other people, then that's not going to be something that you're going to try to be, which is in direct contrast to what you're trying to do, is sell your products and services and attract people and help people. And we also receive conditioning about what it means to be a good person. I'll get into that in a moment. So what I'm going to do now is ask a series of questions. And if you have a notebook and a pen handy, you might want to either write down some notes or ticks or whatever could be helpful for you here. So when thinking about sales or marketing, oh no, this is just about sales. When thinking about sales, do any of the following statements ring true to you? When talking about or posting about my offerings, I feel like I'm bothering people. It's impolite to ask for things. There are so many people who want this, who offer the same thing as me. Why would people choose me? Promoting myself feels sleazy. I don't want people to think I'm pushy or salesy. I'm afraid people will think I'm just after their money. Now, when thinking about being more visible, do any of the following statements ring true to you? I'm afraid I'll say something wrong. I don't want to piss anyone off. I'm afraid of offending someone without meaning to. I'm afraid someone with more expertise is going to call me out for a mistake that I made. I don't want to come across as cocky or boastful or full of myself. And when thinking about success in general, do any of the following statements ring true? If I attract all the clients I want, I won't be able to handle it. I'm afraid of getting in over my head. Success will create a rift between me and my loved ones. If I'm financially successful, family members will expect me to support them. If I gain success, it can all be taken away from me. It's not right for me to be more successful than fill in the blank. It's safer to stay small because if I'm successful, then fill in the blank. Now, these questions may have brought up a lot of emotion, maybe some memories, or maybe some intrinsic knowing that our body holds. You might have felt something in your body. And they may have brought up some feelings of guilt or shame or self-judgment. If you know that you have a certain belief and you want to change it, you know it's getting in the way, but you haven't been able to do that yet. So I want to take a step back for a moment and ask just a few more questions to help you gain some perspective, because all of these beliefs came from somewhere, and none of us were born thinking, oh, I'm really bad at sales, or, oh, I don't want to be too pushy. We all came out of the womb screaming, feed me, give me attention, love me, asking exactly for what we wanted and needed. And it was only through our upbringing, it was conditioned out of us to want and do these things. So a few more questions for you about lineage and your upbringing, your family and your family's family that could have informed how you think about sales, marketing, yourself, worthiness. What did your mother or father say about salespeople? When you were a child, were you able to ask for what you wanted freely? As a child, did you often feel responsible for the feelings and circumstances of another family member? This might not feel completely related, but it absolutely is regarding boundaries and feeling, regarding boundaries. Did anyone in your family gain significantly at someone else's expense? Was anyone cheated out of an inheritance? Did anyone inherit or acquire wealth unjustly? Did anyone in your family go bankrupt, lose the family wealth, or cause the family to experience financial difficulty? Did anyone outside your family cause your family to experience financial difficulty? Was anyone in your family rejected for being a loser, failure, gambler? Did anyone in your family hurt, cheat, or take advantage of someone? Did anyone in your family lose a home or possessions and have difficulty recovering? Now, most of those questions were my own, but those last 6 or so came from the book It Didn't Start With You, which is about inherited family trauma by Mark Wolin. So this is a lot, and it takes time to think about all of these things. I just wanted to give you a taste of what many, many things from our past, even from our parents' past, which can play a role in how we think about growing our business and stopping us from attracting the clients that we need and that we want. It's a lot. And if you're really curious about untangling this, and if you have the time and the emotional bandwidth to work on that right now, I invite you to call me and see if you want to work with me. As a holistic money coach, I work with people in a structured process over 6 sessions to look at their relationship with money from very different angles, because it's big and, it comes from our personal lived experience. It comes from our parents' beliefs around money and success and failure. And it comes from family lineage and trauma. It also comes from the way we interacted with our parents, how we were meant to feel about ourselves growing up. So it's very multifaceted and complicated, but this process helps you make sense of it in a rather short amount of time with the clarity so that you can understand what is authentically me and what was the conditioning. Where do I stand? How do I regain my power? Very often when I work with clients, most of them, when we're reviewing their money biography, the first time that they earn money, it's an occasion of joy, whether it's babysitting or working in the mall or doing small jobs around the house to earn some money. It's a point of pride and empowerment. But somewhere along the line, all of the messages that we receive around money, around success, around being ourselves fully without apology get in the way. And so this process helps you unravel all of that and get back to your true self. So I will put that information in the chat if you're interested. Just set up a call with me to see if we would be a good fit together. Thank you very much for your attention. And we have a couple minutes left if anyone has any questions or wants to add something.
Emily, I'm going to have us go off camera to take questions because we can run a little bit over maybe if we can do that. But I want to ask everyone to unmute so that we can applaud and Emily can hear our applause and our whatevers. I don't know if you saw, let's see, Rosanna wrote, "You're hitting all the buttons, Emily." Anybody else feel that way as well? Yeah. So yay. Thank you, Emily. Woo, this is really good. Really, 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 really good. And I want to thank anyone who's watching this live or watching the replay on YouTube. If you'd like to join us for one of our 11 Zoom meetings a month or an in-person in Columbia, Maryland, Richmond, Virginia, or Tallahassee, Florida, please go to my website, opwgc.com, which is in the text of this video. Also, you can find Emily's information along with her website in the text as well. Thanks for watching, everyone.